the fulfillment of the Great Commissioning. Because, folks, any of us who are disciples of Jesus Christ, we have the same commissioning. So I expect to be hated, like I know I'm hated here. I expect to be persecuted. I expect for Muslims to kill me someday. I have had many death threats. I get many death threats from Muslims. Why? Because my Lord Jesus Christ promised that would happen to me. Folks, we are not permitted to do the same in kind.
And most everyone in the ancient world would have agreed, if you're being persecuted, you do not have divine support.
Right.
With Christianity, with Jesus dying on the cross, persecution, suffering, martyrdom, these now become sort of badges of honor. You're now like Jesus. So persecution sort of gets hardwired into the Christian psyche. Now, the reason that it stayed was because it's tremendously powerful rhetoric. So you could say at first, well, the Romans are persecuting us. But then with the rise of the Christian Empire, Christians maintained the idea that basically the world is polarized. It's us against them, and we're under attack, and we're the good guys. Except the people who are attacking us are now not the Romans, but say, you know, the Ottoman Empire or heretics in the church are attacking us just like the Romans. And once you make that claim, you can legitimate any kind of violence against those groups because you're on the defensive.
Right.
You're the one who's persecuted, and obviously you have to defend yourself. This is why persecution rhetoric is so effective.
It's the psychology of this.
The psychology of it is that this kind of persecution complex allows your group to really band together. It brings about social unity. And we can see that now when people use persecution rhetoric. It's sort of, you know, it's us, this small, tiny little group against the world that's attacking us.
Right.
So even if your group isn't small and isn't powerless, this idea gives your group real social cohesion.
Where did the modern religious right come from using this kind of persecution language?
Wow. Well, I'm neither American nor a specialist in modern America, so I couldn't really say, but the rhetoric is sort of continuous. Part of it's actually in the New Testament. Jesus predicts that Christians will be persecuted.
Right.
And so Christians say, well, see, Jesus told us that we would be. What's interesting is that when you look at the specifics of those passages, a very different picture emerges. So in the Gospel of Mark, Jesus says, take up your cross and follow me, defend me in courtrooms, and some of you who are standing here will be alive when I return.
Right.
Now, clearly,
after one generation, that starts to
that's
go,
not true.
What?
So why is it that we subscribe to the other part of this prophecy?
It's a major point of reference in contemporary Christianity, particularly Protestant forms of Christianity, that to be truly Christian is to undergo or experience some kind of persecution. It's a huge theme, it's a recurring motif in a lot of New Testament texts. Jesus is supposed to have, made reference, you will be persecuted for believing in me. You've got all sorts of stories and traditions in texts like the Book of Acts, a lot of the Pauline letters. There's a sense in which Christians in the West, and I'm being quite careful about saying the West here, the West have tended to argue that they're being persecuted. So, for example, the court cases last year that went to the European Court of Human Rights, whereby a woman who was working for British Airways tried to say that she had been persecuted for her beliefs by her employer because she wasn't allowed to wear a crucifix, as part of her uniform for British Airways. They use the language of persecution quite often to describe a feeling of being threatened, of somehow their religious privileges, their religious rights aren't being regarded in the same kind of concrete way as they used to be. And they're crying persecution because it's a part of their identity, it's a part of Christian identity to be persecuted, to be thrown to the lions like Daniel in the den, or like in the Roman period. There's this sense somehow that you're not a real Christian unless you're suffering. Look at the example of Jesus. But it's bollocks. They're real Christians. Sorry about my language. My mum will slap me. There's a real sense somehow that they don't understand how privileged they are in the West. Christianity has been privileged in the West for 2,000 odd years. there are people that really are being persecuted and suffering in the world, not just for their religion, but for their sexuality, for their gender, their ethnicity. Tone it down, Christian, is what I would say.